Hey everyone, welcome to this deep dive. You guys shared that you're really interested in, finding your place in the world. And
hmm
we found this YouTube video that I think has some pretty cool perspectives on it.
Okay.
It's called Reclama Tu Lugar en el Mundo,
Wow.
which translates to Claim Your Place in the World. And it's from the channel Impulsa Tu Alma, or Propel Your Soul.
I love that. Propel your soul.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I think you'll find this one pretty thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Like, right off the bat, it dives into this problem of just living on, like, the surface level.
Uh-huh.
Like, we're so busy, we're productive, but are we really connecting with ourselves, each other, like, even faith?
That's a good point. Yeah, the video uses this example of, workplaces that just care about like what you produce
Right.
and not really how you feel or like your well-being.
Yeah, it's all about, like, the output,
Yeah.
not the input.
And that made me think like how often do we do that in our own lives?
Totally.
Like do we prioritize performance
Yeah.
over genuine connection?
It's so easy to fall into that trap. Yeah.
Yeah.
We get so caught up in proving ourselves and earning our worth that we
Yeah.
forget that, like, we already have value,
Right.
you know? And it can even affect our relationship with faith. Like, we approach it almost like with fear,
Oh, yeah.
like someone who's worried about getting fired.
Oh, wow. That's such a powerful image that they used in the video.
Yeah.
But then they're like, wait a minute, what if we approached God or a higher power, not like an employee, but like a child?
Yeah.
That changes things.
It's a total, like, 180. Like, suddenly it's not about fear and obligation.
Yeah.
It's about love and belonging,
Yeah.
you know? And it made me think about this idea of yeshud in Judaism. It's about reaching this state of, like, deep contemplation and connection with God.
Mm-hmm.
Not just, like, going through the motions,
Right.
but, like, really being present.
Yeah, it's like the difference between like reading a recipe and savoring a meal.
Exactly.
There's a whole other level of experience.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of what the video is getting at with faith.
Yeah.
It's like it's not about checking boxes.
Yeah.
It's about that deep connection.
And you know what? They use the perfect example for this.
What's that?
Kids. Children.
Oh, yeah.
They haven't learned to, like, doubt their place in the world yet.
Yeah.
They just are.
Yeah.
And they assume they're loved and they're welcomed.
Yeah.
There's just this pure trust and wonder.
I know. Watching those clips of the kids in the video, it's like bittersweet
Yeah.
because it's so beautiful to see that.
Yeah.
But it also makes you realize how much we lose as we grow up,
Right.
like somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
All that wonder gets replaced with worry,
Mm-hmm.
and then that sense of belonging starts to fade.
Yeah. And that's the point that the video is making, right? It's
Yeah.
like societal pressures, that constant need to earn a living.
Yeah.
It chips away at that inherent sense of worthiness.
So how do we get back to that?
Right.
Because that feels key
It's like the million-dollar question.
to really finding your place in the world.
Well, the video offers some pretty interesting tools for that. One of them is this concept called his bonus.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Hebrew word for a kind of like intellectual meditation.
Okay.
But it's not just thinking, you
Yeah.
know.
Right.
It's about letting ideas really penetrate your heart and transform you.
So it's like the difference between watching a sad movie
Yes.
and actually like changing your life because of it.
Yeah. One is fleeting,
Yeah.
and one is like lasting.
Okay. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And the video gives some really practical examples of how to do this kind of like deep reflection.
Okay.
One that stuck with me was the Jewish morning prayer of thanking God for returning your soul when you wake up.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, it's called the Modeh Ani.
Yeah, the Moda Annie. But the way the video was explaining it, it's not just about reciting the words, it's
Yeah.
about the intention behind it.
Exactly.
Like really feeling that gratitude.
Yes, you're starting your day with that awareness.
Yeah.
That connection.
And that can shift your perspective.
Absolutely. And it brings us to another key concept that the video highlights, which is teshuva.
Yeah, that's usually translated as repentance.
Right.
Right?
But the video gives it a much deeper meaning.
Okay.
It's not just about feeling sorry for past mistakes.
Right.
It's like this ongoing process of returning to your true self,
Oh, wow.
to like your original wholeness.
Okay.
It's about aligning your actions with your deepest values and reconnecting with that like God-given sense of belonging. Like
Right.
we're always being pulled away from our center, and teshuva is that force that keeps drawing us back,
Okay.
And when we talk about finding our place in the world,
Yeah.
there's like a huge piece of it.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we belong, not because of what we do,
Yeah.
but because of who we are,
Yeah.
like at our core.
It's about remembering that we are inherently worthy, like regardless of achievements or, external validation.
Exactly.
Huh?
And the video really drives this point home with this powerful quote. It says, "A person has to have self-respect. If one does not believe that the world is a real place that has a creator, then they cannot have anything more than that."
Wow.
Like a bold statement,
It is.
but it makes you think.
It really does. It's like it's saying that our view of the world impacts our view of ourselves.
Yeah.
If we see the world as meaningless or accidental,
Yeah.
it's hard to find meaning and purpose in ourselves.
Yeah. And conversely, if we see the world as a place of intention and design,
Mm-hmm.
it opens up like a whole new sense of possibility.
Yeah,
And we start to see ourselves as part of something bigger,
right.
something purposeful.
Yeah, the video uses a really interesting example to kind of get at this point. Do you remember the part about the evolution of weaponry?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It went from bows and arrows to cannons to nuclear bombs.
Yeah, like it got kind of heavy,
Yeah.
to be honest.
But they're not trying to like bum us out or anything. They're using this progression to show how human ingenuity has often been directed toward destruction,
Right.
And it makes you wonder, like, what happens when we let fear and anxiety dominate our worldview?
Right, we end up focusing on external threats, constantly bracing for the worst.
Yeah.
And in that state of hypervigilance, it's hard to appreciate like the beauty and the wonder that's right in front of us.
It's like we forget that we're also capable of like incredible good,
Yeah.
like love and connection and creation,
Right.
And they contrast this fear-based outlook with the example of the Jewish people
Yes.
and their survival despite like centuries of persecution.
I know that was a really powerful part of the video, just to think that, they've maintained their culture and traditions through so much adversity. It's pretty amazing.
It speaks to the resilience of the human spirit.
It really does.
And they use this example to point toward like a divine plan, a higher power at work,
Mm-hmm.
even when things seem chaotic and uncertain.
Yeah.
There's an underlying order,
Right.
a purpose that's bigger than us.
It's comforting to think that
It is.
even when the world feels unpredictable,
Mm-hmm.
we're not just wandering aimlessly.
Exactly.
Huh.
And that brings us back to that concept of chusa
Yeah.
that we were talking about before.
Mhm.
It's about aligning our thoughts, our actions, our intentions
Right.
with that higher purpose.
Right. It's not just about looking back with regret,
Yeah.
but it's about actively moving forward
Yeah.
with intention.
Like constantly realigning ourselves with our true north.
I love that.
Yeah, it's like we're these ships
Mhm.
constantly being like buffeted by wind and waves.
Mhm.
But Yeshuva is like that compass
Yeah.
that guides us back.
To our intended course.
Exactly. And, the video makes it clear this isn't about like achieving some perfect state of being.
Right.
It's about that ongoing journey of returning to ourselves,
Okay.
remembering who we are at our core.
It's a continuous process
Yeah.
of growth and realignment.
And a crucial part of that is like cultivating self-love and acceptance.
Yeah.
The video really emphasizes the power of positive affirmations,
Right.
like speaking kindly to ourselves,
Mhm.
recognizing our gifts and our talents.
It's like creating this inner sanctuary
Exactly.
where we can escape, the constant barrage of
Yeah.
external pressures and judgments.
Totally.
Hmm.
And when we create that space within ourselves,
Yeah.
it starts to like radiate outward,
Right.
We become more compassionate,
Mhm.
more understanding, more connected to the world around us.
It's like a ripple effect,
Yeah.
you know? When we find inner peace, it creates ripples of peace in our relationships,
Yeah.
our community,
The world at large.
the world at large. Yeah.
They illustrate this idea beautifully with the analogy of a person being a microcosm of the entire world.
Wow.
It suggests that when we cultivate inner harmony,
Yeah.
it has like a tangible impact on the world around us.
Wow.
Our thoughts, our actions, our very being like contributes to the collective energy.
It's a powerful reminder that we're all interconnected
Yeah.
and that our individual choices, they matter.
They do. And ultimately, I think that's what finding our place in the world is all about. It's recognizing that we're not just separate individuals trying to get by.
Right.
We're integral parts of this much larger tapestry.
Yeah.
And our individual threads contribute to the beauty and complexity of the whole.
As we've been like going through this video, what keeps coming back to me is that image of the child,
Mm-hmm.
that pure, unadulterated sense of belonging.
Yeah.
And it's so inspiring, but it's also like, where does that go?
Right.
Why do so many of us lose that? Like,
That's a great question.
that knowing that we're loved and we're worthy just as we are.
Yeah, and I think the video offers some good clues.
Yeah.
It points to those societal pressures, that constant message that we need to strive and achieve to
Yeah.
be valuable.
It's like we have to earn our keep. Yeah.
In the world?
Yeah, if we're not constantly like producing or achieving,
Right.
we're somehow falling short.
It's that feeling of never being enough,
Yeah,
isn't it?
absolutely.
Like there's always something more we should be doing,
Totally.
or someone else we should be comparing ourselves to.
Yeah,
It's exhausting.
it is. And that's where I think the video's emphasis on positive affirmations is so powerful.
Right.
It's about consciously choosing to focus on our strengths
Mm-hmm.
and reminding ourselves of our inherent worth,
Yeah.
even when the world is sending us a different message.
It's like creating an inner shield
Yeah,
against all that negativity and self-doubt.
exactly. And it's not about denying the challenges or the difficulties that we face.
Right.
It's about approaching them from a place of strength and
Mm.
resilience,
Yeah.
knowing that we have the inner resources
Right.
to overcome those obstacles.
It's about remembering that we're not alone in our struggles,
Yeah.
and that even in the midst of, difficulty, we
Yeah.
can still choose to focus on that inherent worthiness.
And that brings us back to the core message of the video,
Right.
reclaiming our place in the world.
Yeah.
Recognizing that we're here for a reason.
Yeah.
Each of us has something unique and valuable
Yeah.
to contribute.
It's about embracing, our individuality,
Totally.
our quirks, our imperfections,
Yeah.
and recognizing that those are the things that make us special.
Yeah.
It's about using those gifts and talents
Mm-hmm.
to make the world, a brighter, more beautiful place.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
And I think this video gives us like so much wisdom and practical advice for like navigating that journey,
I agree.
for remembering who we are and why we're here.
This deep dive has been, really rich.
Yeah.
And I think we've uncovered some, valuable tools and perspectives
Mhm.
that you can take with you.
And as we wrap up, I'd love to leave you with one final thought.
Yeah.
You know,
Imagine approaching life with that same sense of wonder and openness that we had as children.
Mm-hmm.
What new possibilities would open up?
Yeah.
What could you achieve if you truly believed in your own inherent worthiness?
That's a really powerful question to ponder.
It is.
And on that note, we'll leave you to your own deep dive.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. And until next time, keep exploring.